Thank you. First, with the help of the Almighty, I pray to the Almighty to bestow upon me His truth, His wisdom, that I may be worthy of conveying His message, and so, InshaAllah, sanctify His name and bring peace to the world. It's as always, it's for us a great honor and a privilege to be invited, especially to this distinguished August Forum, Arab Organization for Human Rights in Britain, where
Thank you very much.
hope that it will be a platform and that it will be a catalyst that, with the help of the Almighty, that there will be an immediate cessation, end of this brutal, people say inhumane, and we want to stress ungodly attack against the people of Gaza, Palestine, and against humanity, the world. It's an attack against the world. And let me explain. So with the help of the Almighty, they should be able to be concise. The Zionists, I believe, underlying their this brutal attack that everybody has been witnessing live with their own eyes, not only hearing from people, but witnessing the attacks, the murder, the just heartless murder and oppression of a beautiful whole nation, the Palestinian people. Everybody's witnessing, and yet it's not stopping. Now, we're not accusing, God forbid, the world of not feeling for the people of Gaza, because with God's help, us of the Jewish community have been around the world, and I'm myself in New York. We have been in the United Nations and have heard how so many nations of the world, the vast majority, I would say, of the nations of the world are opposed and have voiced their opposition to what is happening. But still in all, it's not stopping. And that has to be, to a certain degree, because the world is, in a certain manner, feels that they don't have the justifiable means of stopping this attack, because it is not as if somebody is standing in front of another person with a gun in their hands or a knife in their hands, and there are people standing on the side and they could stop them because they are looking at this one with the gun as a victim, as a villain, and the one who's on the other side as a villain, as a victim. In other words, the man with the gun is obviously, and he's just wildly wanting to kill, he's the villain. The one who's going to be killed is let's just say a child, is the victim. Everybody recognizes it, and many people would jump in and stop that. In our case, there is a deeper issue, and that is because the state of Israel, it even hurts me to use the word Israel in reference to this Zionist endeavor, the Zionist state of Israel. They have come into this field of slaughter as a participant in a complex conflict, as if we have a war, as if we have two people with some justifiable concerns, some justifiable underlying issues. The Zionists have two, I would call them, with God's help, nuclear weapons. The first is they waved the Bible and claimed that we are the real owners and people, the landlords. We were in the land, and the interlopers and the ones who have come as somebody who doesn't belong there, as squatters, is the Palestinian people. And they're waving the Bible, and they're turning to the Jewish holy people around the world. They use the Star of David, and they're saying this is Judaism, and the interlopers, these people, the squatters, are the Palestinians. That's the first weapon they're using. And the rabbis around the world, consistently, from before the United Nations ratified the state, they stood up and they said, this is wrong. This is patently wrong. We as Jewish people deny and are clear in stating unambiguously that the state of Israel, the Zionist movement, is a political movement, a transformation from Judaism that was religion, that is 3,000 years of being subservient to God, that forbids us, since the destruction of the temple 2,000 years ago, of claiming, of having any sovereignty whatsoever. And we have been living in Palestine as loyal citizens, as we have been in other lands, under Arab and Muslim leadership, in tranquility. I'm not saying that there was times it wasn't perfect, but we lived under the protection of, in Palestine would be under the Ottoman Empire for hundreds of years. We lived in complete harmony, and we helped each other. The difference of religion is totally not a war or a conflict that we have an ongoing conflict between religions. Judaism is a religion. Judaism means that we should serve God and be subservient and good citizens in all the countries we reside. We refuse to accept this new movement of Zionism, which is 140 years and a transformation to nationalism. That's why the chief rabbis of Palestine, which I won't get into all of them, but the ones that are to be notable, is in 1947, the chief Rabbi Sonnenfeld, before the United Nations, July 16, 1947, before the state was ratified by the United Nations, said, "We furthermore wish to express our definite opposition to a Jewish state in any part of Palestine." This was with the delegation in front of the United Nations delegation in Palestine. And this is the opinion that was shared and held by the Jewish community. When he passed on, you see the tens of thousands taking up other rabbis. This is when Netanyahu came to the White House to visit, then even President Obama, the Jewish communities in the tens of thousands, which is, again, the ones who are true to the religion around the world invariably state that Israel has no right to rule over any part of the Holy Land. Bibi and Netanyahu and the state of Israel does not represent world Jewry. Judaism, the religion, is again subservience to God and forbidden to have an established national home, certainly not by killing and stealing. And the Jews who are under the occupation in Palestine for 76 years are being brutally beaten, subjected to the violence and to the oppression, assassination by the Zionists constantly, that we are seeing. And they are arrested because they refuse to serve in the mandatory military service. They are brutally beaten, as I say, and assassinated and tortured. This is a fact that we are having. So the first weapon they use is the falsification of a religion that causes the whole world to stand back and intimidated, because they say, well, this is a world's religious conflict. I don't want to be labeled anti-Semitic. We've just past the stage of that there's many people still alive from the Holocaust, as my grandparents were killed in the Holocaust. There's many people who they realized the world was silent when Jews were being killed, so they suffer now from this a little bit of a guilt feeling, which is there should be a guilt feeling when the world was silent and did not let Jews into their lands. So they feel now they don't want to be dragged into this quagmire. That is the first. But then the Zionists, to complete their nuclear weapon, their second weapon, is that they attack everybody as being anti-Semitic. You're anti-Semitic because if you're opposing Zionism, you're opposing Judaism and the Jewish people. This is very ironic, because the Jewish people around the world who look like me, and I travel the world, thank God, we are distinctly recognized as Jews, and we are therefore equated and therefore pulled into this Zionist endeavor, because people around the world, when they take one look at me, they say, oh, some come over and they say, Shalom Aleichem, and we are in support of your state of Israel, because I'm Jewish. So they think that if you're Jewish, you're supporting and backing the state. And the more the religious, obviously, you even should be approached if you're a rabbi to give encouragement. Why? At the same time, there's the millions of people around the world who have humane feelings. They oppose this. And they say, how could you kill children? But they're frustrated, they can't do anything. But who will they attack? They see a Jew. The fact is that the Zionists, when they made the state, they weren't trying to hide who they were. Here you can see when David Ben-Gurion reading the Declaration of Independence at this most momentous occasion, this historic moment, almost none of them are covering their heads, which is a Jewish requirement, part of the Jewish law, to show that we have a God above us. So you can see their blatant disregard of the Torah, of the Jewish law, what Judaism is. Yet, and they're using the Star of David, and to the world, they are equating themselves, they're calling themselves Israel, which is Jacob. So they're standing there telling the world, you can't oppose us because we are the Jewish state, and if you're opposing us, you're anti-Semitic. They are the personification of anti-Semitism. They are creating around the world a hate of the Jews. They are murdering people in the name of Jews and Judaism. And what is happening is the world is fearful of speaking up because they don't want to get involved in a conflict with God or with people of religions. So we have this critical responsibility as Jews who are around the world. Again, invariably, the ones who are true to Jewish religion, we want to clarify and to uncover to the world this farce, this con job, this duping of the world, that Zionism is not Judaism. It's a pure nationalism that's been concocted by a group of people who detested the religion and looked for ersatz Judaism, something that's a purely selfish, materialistic nationalist movement. And if, unfortunately, we are finding that they are being so successful in their drive to equating Zionism with Judaism, and that it's to be referred, if you oppose it, as anti-Semitism, that you in Britain and us in the United States, our students, tens of thousands of students, tens of thousands of Jewish students amongst the many, maybe millions of students around the world who are attempting, simply children who are always starting fresh minds, looking for the truth and standing up there. They're getting suspended from the schools. There are teachers who are also, many of them who take their lives in their hands, basically, and their jobs in their hands, certainly, are losing their tenure. And why? Because they're passing laws one after the other that it's anti-Semitic to stand up against the movement that is killing, oppressing children and Jews in Palestine, and people who, it's an insult to basic sense, to basic logic, to basic intelligence, common sense, everything that, and basic decency that God gave us. It's an insult. How could they dare say that when you're killing people day after day for over a year now, and what they're doing, and they're oppressing together with them the Jews, and then to say that if you're anti-Semitic to do it, yet they're successful. They're successful in this attack. So we dare not be silent. We must plead with the world leaders that you, just as you would respect the Pope and the priest, and you will respect Muslim leaders, why aren't you respecting the Jews who have a continuity of the hundreds of and thousands of years, literally, that we are following the Torah teachings to the utmost? These rabbis are clearly showing you the documentation and the facts that Judaism is not Zionism, and that
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Right, let me just finish this. And what Zionists are doing are, one thing, it's criminal, it's illegal, and it's anti-Semitic. It's not justifiable, what people call human rights, what we call godliness. We plead for the people of Gaza. We plead for the people of Palestine. We plead for the leaders that they should step up to the plate with the gift they were given by God, their lofty positions, and do not have regrets 30 years down the line, when you'll be answering, like for the Holocaust they had to answer, that they'll have to answer to God and to their grandchildren what's happening here. Speak up, do up, and you will be
Thank you very much, Rabbi Weiss. We are